Okay, my name's Nancy Poznoff, and I'm an executive coach with Close Cohen Career Consulting. I'm also the CEO of Mother Bear, which is an independent marketing and communications agency based in Seattle. I spent about 20 years in corporate roles, leading marketing and product organizations. So my, most recent role was VP of marketing at Zillow Group, which is a pretty well-known household brand here in the United States. And then prior to that, I spent 15 years at Starbucks Coffee. So leading integrated marketing and then also worked on a lot of different things, as you can imagine, over 15 years. But largely spent, the second half of my career in executive leadership roles. I, really grew up as a leader at Starbucks, and we were trained really from day one as servant leaders. There's, a lot of training, a lot of focus on servant leadership as kind of a leadership principle that we followed. And a big part of that, right, is feedback and coaching and helping develop others, not only for their growth within the organization, but for the growth of their career and the growth of them as people. And so I was always just very attuned to that philosophy. And it really resonated with me from an early stage. And so I think I just developed a lot of strengths through that process. And in that organization, we were very much set up to be leaders who were coaches. And, over time, I found a lot of people would just come to me outside of my, direct line of reporting for coaching, right? Just help me think through a problem. Can I pick your brain? How many emails started with that? And so it got my attention that this is something that people continue to seek out from me. And then once I started Mother Bear, I had two or three people on my calendar a week who were seeking out some sort of support. And so it made me start to think about maybe this is something I could do kind of in the next chapter of my career. That's a good question. I don't know that there was an exact moment, but I did have a day, the day I signed up for the C2EDU course. A former colleague of mine that I had recently run into at an event posted on her LinkedIn that they were looking for a coach to join what actually ended up being Close Cohen. And so those things both happened on the same day. So it was just a moment where I thought, okay, like this was always something that was kind of a couple years down the pipe. But I had this moment of like, well, these two things are coming together. I had this great conversation about this opportunity. I decided that day to sign up for class, like, let's take a look at this. And then as I got going with the course, I got increasingly excited. And um, it was literally just like handed to me on a platter, this opportunity of, she was rolling out over the course of a year. So it gave me the breathing room to, really dig in and make sure this was something I wanted to do without having to take a leap, without having to leave my current role running the agency. So it was kind of a perfect scenario for me. Coaching means to me really just giving people the space to explore uh, and say the things out loud that they might not otherwise be able to access. So it's really, I think, just I always share that I think everyone has the answers inside. They sometimes just need someone to help extract them. I think what I learned about myself is that I'm a better listener than I thought, but still have a lot of room to grow. I think the other thing I learned, and my teenage daughters would probably back this up, is that I do have a tendency to jump into problem solving. And so learning how to really listen and hold space for people and understand kind of where they might need me and in unique ways and not just jump straight into coaching the problem, as we called it, was another big learning for me. I think again around the listening piece. And when we did, it was very early on, but when we did the kind of listening levels, right? The level two listening was a big unlock moment for me in terms of just learning how to listen. Um, I'm a fast talker. I like a good banter. I'm highly extroverted, so downtime in a conversation is like terrifying to me. So it was really, really helpful to just learn how to get comfortable with that silence and find the value in those moments of pause. Yeah, it's been huge to just apply that level to listening to, sales calls or, clients, you know, will bring me all kinds of different ideas, concerns, questions. So it's been huge just in the level of service and, marketing and communications is really a relationship business when you're in an agency on the agency side. And so I think it's really helped strengthen those relationships. It's definitely helped me really think about how I coach and develop my team. Um, and, it's enabled me to really kind of step up and out a little more of the day to day and really just serve as that kind of coach and mentor to the team, which is appropriate for a CEO to be operating at that level. So I think it's just reinforced for me kind of how to give my team the space to grow and develop in their roles. And it's been huge for me in my personal life, right? Raising teenagers. I have a daughter who just went off to college. And so it's been just great tools to help guide her and parent her differently as she's going through a huge life transition. I think it's again that theme of like not coaching the problem, right? That being a coach is really about listening and creating space and following my gut. I've always had a very strong kind of intuition and instinct, and probably in my younger years lacked the trust in that. And so, really trusting that and not being afraid to ask the question is what I would tell my younger self. Like, just follow those instincts, trust the process, and great things will come. My day-to-day work has changed a lot because I have a second job now. So I joined the Close Cohen team a couple months ago, and it's been great because I'm, doing kind of this mixture of coaching and career consulting along with my day job running Mother Bear. And so it's hard. It's been it's been mentally challenging, but I think I'm starting to build the muscle of this, switch back and forth. But it's really kind of every day. I do a lot of my coaching early in the morning, my formal coaching, if you will. So it kind of puts me in a certain mindset every day to be in that kind of active listening space from the jump. So it's been really nice, and I'm finding too that I'm very energized on the days where I have coaching clients. So it's kind of a nice validation too that, this is a piece of my career that I'm really enjoying and that's kind of giving me energy and the agency does too. So like I have a very full plate, but it's all like really positive and exciting right now. So, but yes, it's a lot to the context switching can be a little intense some days, but but it's yeah, as long as it's as I'm like taking inventory at the end of every day, like, did I enjoy that day? Was that a good challenge? And so far, so good. I am in like a huge life transition right now with one in college, another one going soon. We're kind of like on the cusp of becoming empty nesters. And so I don't know exactly what my vision is like for the first time ever. But what's beautiful about that is I have, I'm getting a lot of reps in. I'm, working with a lot of clients. I have this company with Close Cohen that's already exists, right? That I've been able to plug into. So I can kind of, and I have a leader there who's just phenomenal in letting me kind of dial up or dial down what I need. So my vision is to see what happens, which is, makes me a little itchy, but it's exciting. And I think, I really see coaching as I call it my third chapter, right? I have my corporate chapter, I have my agency chapter, and then at some stage, when I'm ready to wind that down or exit, I'll have this uh, gift, right? That can be my next career, and I can turn it into really whatever it needs to be at that time. So I'm super fortunate. I learned a new term recently called career cushioning, which I think is so smart and is actually kind of a trend right now, especially people who are later stage in their career and starting to build the next thing before they've finished the current thing. And I think it's a really interesting time in the job market. And coaching provides such a phenomenal opportunity to transition into something that's still really high impact and meaningful and where you can make a healthy living and kind of check all those boxes, but have the flexibility to live whatever kind of lifestyle is exciting for you. I think just do not let perfect get in the way of good. Um, I I see a lot of, I've worked with some other coaches who are getting started, and I've seen a lot of people who are like, well, I don't have my website up, or I haven't totally figured out my niche, or just do it. Just jump in. You can always continue to evolve, in the world of, I work with a lot of software companies, right? You have your minimum viable product or your MVP, like just get clear on what that is and just jump in and go, and continue to check and adjust from there because it will not look how you expect it to. And you really have to follow the market. Right now we're in a really tough time for professionals, and academics, right? Like the job market is really tough and government workers, right? I mean, there's a lot going on. And so what people need in this environment might look really different in terms of what they need from a coach in 5 years from now. So being able to kind of find the right, like really read what's happening in the market, and figure out where you can add the most value and jump in. Really thought going in I was going to be more in this executive coaching space, and then it's gotten into more career consulting. So it's almost like part coaching, part consulting. But I'm still finding that I'm leveraging a lot of the tools that I learned through the CTEDU course. So as people are making these transitions out of jobs or have been laid off or are feeling really stuck, it's easy to want to jump right into, okay, let's like figure out your resume and your LinkedIn and like start to get really tactical. But it's been great to have some tools to really help people understand like what are their core values, what do they actually want? And spending a little bit of time helping them really explore that because it can be so hard to be clear on that especially when you're in like a heightened state of anxiety or stress. So it's been great to be able to help people kind of understand what the right next kind of move looks like for them, and then kind of switch to this consulting piece where it's helping put together the package of things they want, and then kind of switching back into coaching to help them figure out, what is the plan? What are the right actions to help them get there? It's funny. I'm actually, now that I have kind of announced that I'm doing coaching in addition to leading Mother Bear, I'm getting a lot of interest from clients who are looking for, because we work directly with a lot of executives at Mother Bear who are looking for support in their companies in terms of how they're navigating different dynamics or relationships in the office. I had another former client reach out when he saw I was coaching, because his wife is making a huge career transition. So it's interesting. I think I sort of informally played this role of coach, or I used to joke, I'm like the guidance counselor. And so it's interesting because, really my target audience, if you will, is the same. And so it's this interesting kind of blend of helping them solve marketing problems, but also being available to coach on the side. And even my own team, well, I have one person who's fairly early in career and really starting to develop is a really strong leader. And so we're doing some kind of more formal coaching together, which has been a ton of fun as well. I would say it's definitely worth it. I think a lot of business leaders are kind of more the like command and control type of leaders or very much player coach. And I think sharpening your coaching skills will just help you to scale your leadership and leave room for the people who report into you to continue to grow or the cross-functional team around you. And it's a great skill set to help kind of build the next generation or couple, layers of leaders within your organization. The experience of the class helped me. I'm not someone who naturally loves to role play and practice, even though I tell all my clients who are doing it that they need to do that. And so I think I really got a lot out of just building those relationships with people and having, it was like immediate base of trust for me. And being able to just really practice um, in like a very safe space was really, really valuable for me. And it took me way out of my comfort zone, but really, I think was a key. So, and like, where else would you find that opportunity and have kind of not the validation, but just, well, I guess it is the validation, right? Like that you're doing it right, right? And that there are a lot of ways to do it. And, so, but to have that feedback and that kind of cohort of people who are all in the same place was really wonderful. Just it's funny, but I use all the language from the course, but the trust yourself, trust the client, trust the process, like that, I mean, that spans across all facets of life. But that's been a huge takeaway for me. And if you've ever just even thought about it, I think it's just a great way to sharpen if it is something that's right for you. I mean, I'd be shocked if people took the course and were like, nah, that wasn't it. But it's a great way to just sharpen what it is that's exciting to you or interesting to you, and then walk away really well prepared to build your business and um, have that opportunity to kind of design your next chapter.